Hi folks, so today's video is going to be my review of the Tarte Graveyard Girl Swamp Queen palette. As you guys know, I have used this palette now for the last 5 days, creating 5 different makeup looks. All of the different playlists for all of my different 1-week series are on the page of my YouTube channel, and it's in my little playlist button, so you can go through all of them. So as I mentioned in my first video, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit biased when I talk about this palette. Now, it is something that I bought with my own money. I went out and purchased this myself. It wasn't sent to me, but I was given an opportunity to go to a Tarte party that I had to decline for finances and passport issues, but I did just kind of want to keep that transparent with you guys that I'm not on Tarte's PR list, and I did buy this with my own money. However, I am obviously a big supporter of Bunny, and I will continue to support her in whatever makeup lines and makeup collaborations that she decides to do. Alright, so let's get into the review of the palette. First things first I want to talk about is the packaging. This is definitely one of my favorite packagings of all the palettes that I have. One thing that I really love about this collaboration is I feel like Tarte really listened to Bunny and really got 100% of her input on how she wanted the palette to be, the names of the colors. I feel like it was actually a collaboration between Bunny and the brand itself, which is kind of cool because a lot of people I feel like just sort of slap their names on a product and call it a day, whereas this definitely feels like a little bit more personal to her and a little bit more true to her own brand. The packaging itself is like a heavy, thick cardboard. It's like really a strong cardboard, and then there's sort of the gold in here. It is textured as well, so it feels really cool. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's like a wood texture. And then obviously Swamp Queen, the alligator with the wings, which, like, you see stuff like this if you watch Bunny's video, you know, like, it's so personal to her, and it's such a great representation of her brand and the following that she has, that I think it's really special, because I mean, I watch her videos, I watch her as a fan as well, and I think it's awesome that, like, somebody can get this and know, like, without a doubt, like, this is Bunny's palette. So you open it up and you do have this big mirror. Now, I don't want to blind you guys, but it does have a quote on the top that says, "Believe in yourself, love yourself, embrace your individuality," which is just cute. And again, I think that's true to her brand and what she presents in her videos and things like that, which is special because she does have a lot of younger subscribers and maybe people who really need to see that message, and I think it's just cute. Like, it's having that in there is good for anybody, is to have a little bit of a positive message, right? Okay, so then you open this palette up, you have your 9 eyeshadows here. You also get a bronzer shade, a blush, and a highlight as well. All this week I went ahead and used the blush. I do have the highlight, and I have used the highlight as well. The bronzer shade is going to be a little bit more iffy. I've used it in this look as an eyeshadow. I've used the blush as an eyeshadow as well, but I feel like unless you have a really specific skin tone, that the bronzer might be a little bit harder to work with. I personally can't really make it work on my skin. I did in the summer when I was a little bit more tan, but moving into the winter, I don't feel like that really suits my skin very much. I like the way that they give you a couple options. So you have more of your neutral shades up here with a pop of like an orange. You also have your middle row, which is pretty neutral with like a little bit of a shimmery shade in here. And then you have more of your purples as well. I grab from everything, but if you were to open the palette, then that's a really easy way that you could also get inspiration, is just going row by row. And one more thing that I do love about the palette as well is all the names of the colors. Again, that's something that is super personal to Bunny. Having colors like Dog Man, Man Cat, Sippy Sippy, Sassy Bun, Does This Thing Really Work, Haunting, Big Baby, Gator Wings. All of that, again, makes it feel like Tarte really listened to her, naming and picking everything. And for me personally, I have not seen a YouTuber collaboration with a makeup brand that has been this personal to the actual YouTuber. And so that I can actually really respect, and I really hope going forward that more brands do something like that, because it really makes the products personal, and to me makes me want to buy it as somebody who is a fan of said YouTuber. You know, the story about her cat, or the fact that she drinks tea, like stuff like that. It makes the palette feel personal to them because they know all the inside sayings and jokes. So that's really smart marketing, in my opinion. So big thumbs up for Tarte for doing something like that, because it makes the consumer want the palette more. Right now, this palette is $54 Canadian. At the time that I'm recording this, it has just recently been re-released on the Tarte website. So fingers crossed when this video is released that you're still able to pick it up if you haven't already. So $54 Canadian, you get 12 products, 9 eyeshadows, 3 face products, and so that equals out to $4.50 an item, which is really reasonable, especially because you are getting a pretty large bronzer, blush, and a highlight as well. So next I'm going to move on to my pros and cons. I'm going to start with the cons first so that I can end the video on a positive note. Now, I only have a couple of cons with this palette. The first thing being the scent. I failed to mention this somehow in the last 5 videos, but this palette is scented. It's very similar to the Too Faced eyeshadows that have sort of a chocolatey scent, that kind of thing, but this has kind of a vanilla Oreo kind of scent to it. I call it like a vanilla milkshake, which I don't mind, but at the same time, it's noticeable to me. And because it's the only eyeshadow palette that I have that's scented, I open it up and I go, whoa, and you get kind of like blindsided by the scent of it. So if you're somebody who's sensitive to scents or doesn't like that, then it's a little bit weird to put a scented eyeshadow on your face. That's kind of a con for me just because I do notice the scent. It goes away pretty much right away, but as long as you have this palette open, you are going to smell it like as you're doing your makeup and as you're like applying it and that kind of thing. So if you're very sensitive to scents, then it's something that you might want to stay away from. Another con as well, which I know has been mentioned by a couple of people who have reviewed this palette, is the use of glitter or shimmer in the product. So there are a couple eyeshadows in here which are shiny, so like SFS, Sassy Bun, Haunting. Those ones have a really nice sheen when you swatch them. The two shades in here that kind of irritate me with the shimmer are Sippy Sippy, which is like a matte brown that has gold shimmer in it, as well as Gator Rings. Now, the matte brown, this gold shimmer doesn't really stick and it kind of creates a lot of fallout. So when you're applying it on the lid, the glitter just tends to fall down. It doesn't really stick in with the eyeshadow. So for me, I personally don't really understand why they put a gold glitter in that, because it doesn't really do anything for the eyeshadow, and if anything, you're kind of stuck wiping it away at the end. Same thing for Gator Wings. This definitely has a ton of glitter in it, which I don't think it needs. You guys have seen a technique that I use throughout the week where if you use it with your finger and apply it, it's very, very, very shimmery and it doesn't really pick up a lot of that glitter. Also, if you were to use it with the brush, you do have to really tap it off and then go in so that you don't get sort of glitter flakes. So I could have done without as much chunky glitter in this shade. You guys saw throughout the week I was able to make that work. Moving on to pros, I do feel like the colors in the palette are very pigmented, especially this orange, the brown, and the purple. Those ones are really, really pigmented and they do blend very well with each other. It's happened to be my first Tarte eyeshadow product, so I was a little bit unfamiliar with the consistency and the texture of them. So overall, do I think this palette is worth it? Yes, if you're looking for something that has a lot of beautiful neutral shades with very slight pops of color like a dark purple and an orange, you're definitely able to do a lot of wearable, nice, simple looks with this. But then with those additional pops of color, you're able to do a dark smoky eye, you're able to do like an orangey kind of warm eye as well. So if you're looking for a neutral palette that also has a couple face products as well, then this is the palette for you. Also, I found that it was really versatile in the fact that I was able to use the blush as an eyeshadow, I was able to use the face highlight as an inner corner highlight, you're able to use the bronzer as an eyeshadow as well. Overall, I really like this palette. I think it's worth it. I think there's a couple things that could have been done differently to really make it like a 100% like totally recommend palette, but if you like bunny and you like sort of neutral eyeshadows, then I definitely think that you should pick this up. It is limited edition, so it's one of those things that's kind of close to my heart that I'm like, I have to get this, you know, just because I support her and I support anything that she does. So yeah, I do recommend this if you're looking for a neutral palette. Also, if you want to support Bunny as well, I think that's awesome. I think this was a really amazing collaboration. And yeah, like I said, I can't help but feel a little bit biased, guys, because I do like her, I do like the palette, and I think that it is worth it for me because it's supporting somebody who I feel like has a good heart and is really kind. And so yeah, definitely take into account my pros and cons when making your decision as always. So yeah, hopefully I was able to give you guys a bunch of pros and cons to this palette. Definitely be sure to go back, watch my previous 5 videos of 5 different looks so you can see how I use the colors in this palette to create things. I think it's a really good neutral palette, so if it's something that you're looking for, then I do recommend it. This week I am actually going to dip into this little sucker. This is the Viseart Dark Matte palette. I did order this as well as the neutral palette, but I can't help but really want to dip into these like neutral mattes, especially like that orange, this weird green, and I'm very excited. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing good, and until my next video, I'll talk to all you soon. Bye!